Okay, see, we were talking about the Komitas composing over 3,000 tracks. Can you mute it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it coming through there?
No, it was on your laptop.
Oh.
Yeah, just mute it. Yeah, we were talking about Komitas, so transcribing over 3,000 traditional songs, traveling over the world to Europe, inspiring composers like Debussy. And how old was he now? Like 40?
So he was 45 or 46 when the genocide occurred in 1915. He was exiled for 2 weeks. He was marching the deserts with about 300 or 400 other intellectuals that were kidnapped from Istanbul, from the Armenian community. Basically all the leaders and artists and everything were taken out. And most of them were murdered or killed. He was somehow spared, but he kind of had severe PTSD and never wrote again, and pretty much spent the rest of his life in a psychiatric ward in France until he died 30 years later. So it's a sad story, but the collection of work that has survived that he's brought is like the centerpiece of every musical household in the Armenian community. That's Komitas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jivan, for you, who was your biggest musical influence from Armenia? What can you recommend to people who don't know Armenian music?
Well, I was born in a musical family. My grandfather is Jivan Gasparian, and since I was a kid, I was listening to his rehearsals at home, concerts. But when I came here in 1998, he was recording the soundtrack for The Gladiator, and that day changed my life because I wanted to become a doctor, a pharmacist. And that day I told him, when I went to the studio and I saw Hans Zimmer, Lisa, Ridley Scott, that room was filled with some passion that it changed my life, that I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And I asked him to give me a duduk. This is called a duduk. And after a few years, I started to practice. I was listening to his recordings and to Armenian melodies, Armenian music, and I felt that this is what I have to do. Not because I have the same name and the last name. I have to do this, but no. I felt that this is what I want to do. This is what I love, and I wanted to try. I said I will try to see if I can, if I'm able to play. I told him, please let me know. If it's going well, I will continue. If not, then I will never play. He said, if I see that you cannot play, I will never tell you continue, because I don't want to ruin your life. Because you have to be the best. You have to continue, and you have to love what you have to do. And it's been 28 years already that after a few years practicing, he said, it's good, you can play. And I started to play with him. I started to travel with him in the world, with different concerts, with greatest artists I have seen, festivals, like from the smallest to the biggest concert halls. And we've been introducing the music, clean Armenian musical world to the audience. And when we were traveling, we were not playing for only Armenians, we were playing for other nationalities. And he was always saying, there is no bad nation, there are bad people, and music is the savior of this life. It cleans. And this instrument is 3,000 years old.
Wow.
Not this one, but this has a history of 3,000. And it's been.
It smells funny.
He was the one who introduced it to this world. He was the one but he was also always grateful to his masters, to his friends that were helping him, who didn't get the chance to introduce to the world. He was the one, and. He is the one that he made me fell in love with this instrument. And last year he passed away, but he gave me the tradition, he gave me the lessons, he showed me everything that he gave me the course of 25, 30 years of course in like couple of years.
Wow.
And the thing was, it was working out in between me and him that he was teaching, and now I was able to learn and take it the right way, whatever he wanted to teach me. That's very important.
Yeah.
And for me, it's very important to carry this tradition and to introduce it to the world, because there are in every culture there are like real music and the music for entertainment and everything, but whatever we were playing and introducing is the clear Armenian, natural, it's the roots, and this is the
So, sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
So
yes.
this was your biggest inspiration.
yes. And
Mainly the duduk.
mainly duduk, but we play different woodwind Armenian instruments like shavi, zurna, you know, like different situations. Shavi is like a whistler, kind of, you can say. Zurna is played. They used to play it in wars when they play, and they get inspiration for the soldiers to, you know, give them the power and get them, you know, going. And but duduk was the instrument that it can cry, it can make you dance, it can make you be romantic, it can. And the thing about this is just one octave and few notes, but the sound is it tells you the story of your nation. That's why I love this instrument. Without speaking, you can just play one note and it will explain everything. If you don't mind, I can play something
Oh,
like
yes,
a
please.
short phrase, so you can just listen.
we're done.
Yaman?
It says it all.
Yaman.
I think pretty much all of that was Komitas. Most
and
Yaman.
Tsiranitsar, which is Komitas, and this is a real Armenian music with a traditional instrument called duduk, but the real name is called Tsiranapokh because duduk was named in Soviet Union times when they couldn't say Tsiranapokh and they said duduk, like dudka. It's
It's Russian word.
Yeah, it derives from a
But
Russian word.
Tsiranapokh is, it means it's the real name,
Apricot tree.
apricot
Pipe.
pipe.
Yeah.
So tsiran is apricot, and you should try the Armenian real apricot. It tastes amazing. And
It's delicious.
in our yard we have with my grandfather when he was alive, we had hundreds of apricot trees. We used to make apricot vodka, and when we had guests from abroad and they were coming to our house, we were tasting it a little bit with no sugar. We were tasting and we were playing the duduk with duduk quartet, duduk quintet, and the duduk choir gives you goosebumps. There is no such a feeling, and I wish I'm here from '98, but lately I live here for 3 years. I have my own. I want to get duduk players like a choir, so I can give this feeling to Armenians and to other cultures that they have to you just have to hear the duduk orchestra to hold one chord. It's enough. You don't have to play melody.
Thank you so much. This was really beautiful. It brought me straight back to Moldavan and to the beautiful landscapes. So, what is your inspiration, musical inspiration from Armenia?
Man, I think they said it all, Sayat Nova, Komitas, that's the basis of all of it, I was also classically trained in Armenia, and that was all the base that we had, that's all we played. There's so many melodies, and they're so different from one another because they're, like you guys mentioned already, they're deriving from different parts of the world, and he kind of sort of made it his own, but with the Armenian base, which is just amazing, man. That's where it starts and ends for me.
Wonderful. And for you, Vahan?
Yeah, since my background is more started with the classical music training, I will say my influence has been Arno Babajanyan and Aram Khachaturian. That too. And later, when I started creating more jazz fusion music, one of the influences was Stepan Shakarian.
Stepan Shakarian was the first and last student of Aram Khachaturian.
Yeah.
I was taking classes from him, harmony and solfeggio from him.
Do you guys know who
Yes,
Aram
I was-
Khachaturian
We
is?
should probably.
Saber dance. He's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
It's in everything.
That's Aram Khachaturian.
So yeah.
Wonderful. So, when you grew up, how important was music when you grew up as kids? Was music always around in your household?
Yeah, I think with Armenian families, culture is a big thing. Me personally, I was born in Soviet Armenia, which is Armenia before it became independent. So the Soviet Union itself had a big cultural kind of push, on its people. So yeah, the music was always around. I remember having Jivan's grandfather's vinyl. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Growing up,
It would
yeah.
be right there. The Saber dance, we listen to all kinds of music, but that was definitely a part of the vinyls that, my parents had and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a big part of all Armenian kids. I was playing piano until I was about 12 years old. Just because you have to. You got to play chess and piano.
Wow. And backgammon?
Yes. But backgammon's not really That's they say Khujan. It's always like more street.
Street, yeah. Grandpas in the outside played that, you know.
Whatever, but yeah, for the children, music culture is a big thing. So music is always around. I'm sure all of us had that kind of.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. I because I'm traveling a lot, and I grew up in Germany, and it wasn't that much of a musical culture than in Armenia or when I'm in Morocco or somewhere. So I feel that the music is really telling and sharing the story to the next generation. It's like this important part. Can you tell? I would love to hear from you, like the role of music in Armenia. Just think
I
about
think
it. Sebu?
I think the role of music anywhere is the same: is to heal, to get entertained, to share stories. It's art, you know, and I think in Armenia right now there's a lot of good new music coming out, and we've become a lot more diverse and eclectic with the styles of music that's coming out. All kinds of pop music, electronic music, jazz. Yeah, the role of music is to bring the people together as it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So true. You guys, something to it?
If you let me, with duduk, the thing is that it grows, it explores, and it improvises. It has so much in it. Then one octave and few notes, but this duduk comes in different keys, and you can do so much improvisations. That and you can play a lot of beautiful melodies, except Armenian traditional way of playing it. But the thing is, I think that if you don't improvise and you don't try, if you try to make it more, that's the continuation. Let's say my grandfather gave me this instrument and they said he taught me the way to play the traditional way. But in my thoughts, he gave me something, I have to continue it, and I have to explore it, I have to
build on
build.
it. Yeah.
Not to
evolve.
repeat, because I can, if I play the same melodies that's been playing and they have been played in a best way, that you cannot even compete, or you don't even want to compete, or you don't want to get better than your master. But if you don't do something new, that's something you are stuck in the same place and you're just repeating what has been done, you know. You don't want to do the same thing as he has done, because they have done it so well that it will just be not that's how this instrument 3,000 years before, I can tell you, they were making the duduk from this bamboo as a flute, like one piece, and then they decided to try different woods. This is apricot wood from Armenia, a wild apricot wood that maybe from one tree you get one duduk, and the best sound. You can make thousands of duduks from one tree, but you can get the best one. It's just one that sounds the best from one tree. And they tried from different woods, pear, you know, like different fruits. And they, even here in America with my grandfather, we bought some woods, exotic woods like cocoa ball or Pernambuco, like different exotic woods. Like one piece of wood costs like $200-300. It's just one. It grows half an inch a year. That's how you know. We've tried from different woods, but the best sounds from apricot wood. And then it became, I'm just telling you the thing that 3,000 years of history, it came to this idea that it has to be apricot wood, and this part has to be a bamboo with a special master that knows when this bamboo is grown already. They have to cut to do the special depth of you know, and they boil it, they fix it, and they get this reed. It's a double reed. And then the different master makes the duduk, and which has to match with this thing. And every day, this reed can change, can be different. You know, it can sound with the climate. It can sound like with the z sound. It can be with a warm sound. It's like a character. You know, it's not just the instrument. It's not just the clarinet that you make the you know,
Yeah.
the reed wet, and you
Mhm.
play it, it sounds the same as like different, and you have to find your sound. No, you have to create your own sound with your lips, with your cheeks, with your heart, with your soul, with your head. Everything creates your timbre. That's the technique, and that's the deepest thing that I don't want to take an easy instrument and just blow it, put air, and just put my fingers. It's not fingers. That's the really important thing for me, that I have to create my own sound. It's
So
not, and
You make it with your body,
and
with your heart, with your soul.
you
and
have to
everybody
create your
makes-
own sound. Like I can, and I found a way to play and to find like a. You can create, you can play beautiful melodies. Ave Maria, you can play everything.
Feels like a sound bath.
Give me
Yeah,
this is
30
great.
seconds. I don't want to take long. I want
Yeah.
to give word to my friends too, but I
Please.
just want to show you something.
I want to do panels all the time.
I just enjoy hearing you, man.
Thanks to you.
It's also you can. It's so rich with technical stuff. You can. Just want to show the technique.
beautiful. I got the next question here for you guys. Maybe we're gonna start there with you. How does Armenian music influences your cue and compositions? Because you're all not playing traditional Armenian music. Actually, here's a whole variety of pop music, Apex Theory, their own style completely. How does the Armenian music influences your writing, your composition?
Yeah, the toughest question came to me, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Well, I will say, since the competition is very strong, mostly in the music that I create, sometimes I try to be a little bit unique with adding some Armenian flavor into my music, because there is no any other way that you can impress in today's talented people. So that's the most part that I will say, yeah, it influences me to add some little kind of flavor of ethnic Armenian genre into my music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all what I can say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to use it. Just
Yeah.
to make the music that we have already, make it more fresh.
Yes.
Yeah, bring new elements there.
Yeah.
Nice. You, Yuri?
For me, it kind of happens automatically.
Mhm.
Like it kind of just is in there
Mhm.
in my head, and it's just like he said, like drops of it here and there,
Yeah.
because there's so much rich music, like Jivan said, like real traditional folk Armenian music.
Mhm.
I can't compete with that. You know what I mean? It's just, it would be silly to even try.
Mm.
So yeah, I think most of us here just kind of, you know, whatever's in us from childhood
Yeah.
or whatever we've learned throughout the years,
Mhm.
and just trying to put little bits and pieces in there when we can. Sometimes we don't, you
Yeah.
know, and sometimes, you know, it depends. You kind of know if it's calling for it. You know, you listen to the piece and you're like, you know,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
you
So-
feel it out.
So you don't try to force it and
No.
put the Armenian touch into it.
No,
but
no,
when there
no.
is space.
No, it's derived and it's just not gonna sound right.
Mm.
You know, I think if it's there and like bands like System, it just happened for them. You know, Apex Theory, it just happened for them.
Mhm.
I don't think they were there and going, "Ooh, we're gonna mix this Armenian song with this Armenian." You know, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
They're just jamming, and that's what they know. That's what they learned. That's what they studied. So it just automatically was, you know, bits and pieces were in there. Now it's a challenge to make that into something new and something fresh and something that people today want to listen to,
Mhm.
you know, and also not going into the Arabic melodies too much, and, you know, because those can be very easily mistaken
Mhm.
for Armenian music.
It's Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Middle Eastern kind of.
It's different.
Yeah, it's totally different. You know.
Awesome. We're gonna talk about the differences a little bit later.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
There
I
you
got
go.
the
I jumped in
question
at
for you. Sebo, how was it for you? Like, does Armenian music influence your writing?
As a kid, I took piano lessons and I was in choirs and stuff like that. So we learned all the traditional Armenian songs, and so those melodies were ingrained in my head when I ended up in bands and started writing songs as a songwriter in my teenage years. But even before I started writing my own songs, I was in cover bands, and we would cover the classic rock bands like Pink Floyd and Doors, all the Beatles, everything, Led Zeppelin. I totally recommend, if you want to be a musician, a good musician, good songwriter, cover lots of music. Right?
Yeah.
Cover the best. Cover your before you even try to write your own stuff. And so when I did start writing my own stuff, I realized later that I wasn't just getting influenced by the classic rock bands, but all the early childhood songs that I learned as a kid in the choirs and piano lessons. I mean, because my piano teacher was Armenian, so he would give me Beethoven and Gomidas,
All right.
you know, and Bach and Khachadurian and Babajanyan, and they had amazing children's pieces. Actually, a lot of Armenian composers write amazing children's pieces. Like, we have more really cool children's pieces than like really famous, classical or orchestral
Contemporary.
contemporary pieces. I think, at least they speak to me. They're very pretty melodies.
Catchy melodies. for
Yeah,
kids.
I think they're like
Lullabies and things like that.
yeah,
right?
it's just pretty cute melodies, at least for me, and they naturally get integrated into the new melodies that I write for the pop stuff. You know, it's subtle, it's nuanced.
Yeah. It's just subconscious. I think, you know, just like how Yuri was just saying. Yeah, it's within you. You grow up with it. I mean, here's like an example of something that with my old band Apex Theory, you know, I'm a bass player, screwing around with like what would be considered rock bass riffs, this and that. Throw some distortion on there. Oh, this is fun. This is great, but it's not really doing anything. It's not connecting. And I remember one time during a jam session with the band, whatever, I started going dun digga dun digga dun digga dun da 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 digga da digga da digga dun bum bum bum. I'm like, what is that? And it's basically the Tamzara dance, which is one of the oldest like Armenian, you know, folk dances in 9/8 time signature. Which what am I playing in 9/8? Like, I didn't go to school for music, honestly. I don't know time signatures, but it's just in you. Dun digga dun digga dun digga dun ba ba. It's like, where did this come from? You know, and so funny enough, that turned into a song, and that was actually one of the songs that was on my first Apex.
Great song. I know.
Thank you.
Oh, that's amazing.
And actually, sorry, could you go ahead?
No.
I was saying, funny enough, you mentioned lullabies. The opening to that song on that album was actual
I was gonna say
lullaby.
that too. Yeah,
It
I
was a
noticed
lullaby
that.
that my mom used to sing to me.
Yeah.
It's called, oh my God, I know the lyrics. Kunyerid Balas.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe Gian could actually play it. Yeah. But literally, it was a lullaby my mom used to sing, and we would play it live just because it would calm the audience down after all this so, whatever, and then we would go into this Tamzara moment, so it was just a nice, you know, juxtaposition, a nice dynamic, and it was, you know, the lullaby mom sang me, and she came to the show and she's like, "You're playing lullabies on stage?" Yeah.
What's cool too, it's like it's your own interpretation of it.
Right,
Because you don't
bass.
exactly remember
Yeah.
every note, or
Yeah.
you're not trying to copy it.
I
It's
messed
just
it up.
You're going from them.
Completely
No,
messed
but
it
it's cool, right? That's what I mean. It's like
Mom liked it. So.
That's the most important part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for you, I have actually a concrete question to the song "A Possibly," because it's like, do you remember how you wrote it? Because for me, it sounds really Armenian.
It actually started with a guitar line, and the guitar player is here. I think I saw him. Yeah, there he is. That guy right there. He was just screwing around with that guitar melody, and I walked into the studio, and I heard it, and I was like, "That's amazing. What is that?" And he was like, "It's nothing. It's terrible." Like, he says that to everybody, guys. And I was like, "I think it's amazing." And I was like, "I want to record that." And we started messing with it. I was like, let's turn that into a song. And slowly but surely it turned into a song. And yeah, but that
Nice.
initial guitar melody, it's that guy over there. So
Man,
his
good
name's
job.
Artin Karamian.
I wanted
That
to
guy
ask you.
right there, yeah.
Wow, yeah, so check out, to all the listener viewers, check out the song "A Possibly" from the Apex Theories. I love it. Cool. And we got this. What do we have here? Guys, who are the pioneers to merge Armenian and Western music? When did it started? Like, do you remember the moment?
Share.
There we go.
With her amazing vocal
Charles
abilities.
Aznavour.
Aznavour, of course.
Charles Aznavour
Yeah,
is like the
Aznavour.
French, Frank Sinatra, I guess.
Jivan Gasparin.
Gasparian
His
with
grandfather.
the Gladiator soundtrack,
Yeah.
especially.
Gladiator.
But also he worked with Peter Gabriel, so
Peter
that was
Gabriel,
right.
Yeah, he did.
You know.
Peter Gabriel was before, right? Gladiator soundtrack.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, before.
Before.
And after.
Yeah, he was.
And after, okay.
Didn't your grandpa play on the Last Temptation of Christ?
Yeah, that's right.
as well.
They used the different recording of an Armenian.
He was involved somehow.
That's what they wrote, that it's Jivan, but my grandpa was honest because that duduk player was not alive. He said, "No, it's not me. It's the guy before me, the master, Vachov Sepen. He was 4 years older than my grandfather, and when they were starting to get improvements of this instrument with the melodies, they used to take the songs and make it to the way to play for duduk, and it was Jivan and Vache who were replacing it, the song to the melody. and they they had their own ways of playing it. But he was so honest that he was saying no, it was Vacha. And in Armenia, 10 years ago, 13 years ago, it was his 80th birthday. They wanted to put his statue in the middle in Yerevan, the capital of Armenia, and he said, "I don't want mine to be here only because I have my masters."
Right.
It was Vachov Sepan who passed away, Levon Madouan who was the master for them. That it was not they were not talking about them.
But they worked with Peter Gabriel as well?
No. Jivan was saying that if there's
And
going to
there
be a
was one
statue,
guy-
you got to have all three
There
statues.
was one guy that was born in Baku, in Azerbaijan,
Right.
Armenian guy, that during that genocide in Azerbaijan, he didn't have a grave, but he was in jail also. At that time, his lifetime.
Dark again.
He was so special. He was such a great musician. They would take him out from jail. They would bring him play and take him back to
Back in jail. The
I'm
guy's
serious.
out.
And
Gladiator style.
And my grandpa used to tell me, we were flying, we were driving to Baku. We were eating with good musicians, the best good musicians. There was, like he's saying, there is no bad nation. There are bad people. And musical life, he was socializing with so many good, great musicians, and they were very respected to each other. They had great respect to each other. It's not political, it's nothing. It's no culture, it's involved, it's nothing. But musician world, it's different. They have respect. They say the truth, bro. They say what it is. And he said that there is no grave, and I want his statue to be here. So he wanted, instead of his statue, during his life, that he could see it, he said, no, I want 4 of us to be here. And he made it happen.
Yeah, all 4 of them?
All 4 of them.
I think
So
I have a picture of that.
you have, it's I mean, you know, the thing is, there is one truth. If it's true, it cannot be two truths. You know, we cannot be both true about one idea. There are something. You have your idea, I have my idea, but there is only one truth. That it has to be the truth, and you know it better, and I know it better. We cannot lie to each other. Musical life is like that. It's not like a different life that we have to say who is right, who is wrong. No, but there is truth that has to be written in history. That's very important.
It's the power of music.
Deep Nam.
This is
Wow.
this is the deepest nap panel you've ever.
Definitely.
No one's clapping today. We'll talk about gear. No, that's amazing. What? You're getting deep? No, let's talk about preamps.
Preamps.
Can you translate to it?
Wow.
That's all.
Yeah,
I'll
actually,
help you.
after this, the next question is sounds ridiculous.
Let's hear it.
You wanted an Armenian folk music panel, man. We gotta go deep. Khoratsan.
Who is the most into
Come on,
mixing? Like
everybody.
all of you guys are mixing your own music. Like you're mixing.
I judge the mix.
You just the mix.
No, I judge the mix.
You judge the mix.
Yeah. Not adjust, judge.
Yeah.
So, for
judge.
example, I partner with my mixing engineer that he does the mixing. Yeah, I can mix as well, but I believe everybody should be in their position, right position. So if I'm a music producer, then it's better, instead of doing 100 jobs, just focus on that. If I'm a keyboardist, let's say I'm a music producer, songwriter, composer, and keyboardist, that's what I do the best. I don't want extra mixing, mastering, but I can do. Yeah, but I partner with Sterling Sound, one of the best mastering engineers, and with Chikoria's mixing engineer, and so on. So
Ted Jensen.
Wonderful.
yeah, no, Alan.
Alan.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if you know any difficulties when you're mixing Armenian instruments, for example, into pop music or.
Well, I could say I wish Miss Celia Massey was here, but she's doing another panel somewhere. She actually mixed an Apex Series song with your grandfather playing on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when this was a 15-minute prog rock, crazy loud things, and all of a sudden you have Jivan his grandfather playing on it. So she could probably answer on that, but she did a great job. It's called Light Post, so if you guys want to check that out, one guy, he knows about it. Yeah, and there's one other guy, and there's one more. No. Actually, so long story short, she would be amazing to ask that question because she literally mixed in that instrument, that beautiful instrument, into crazy loud, distorted guitars, and she made it work. Jivan actually was at my studio a few weeks ago. We've been playing together some shows, and he's been, coming on board, and it's been amazing. And I've been trying to still mix that. It's not easy to mix, to blend it in with all that. It's difficult. It's
Wow.
really, but she did a great job. So if you guys want to hear what it actually sounds like from a rock perspective, Sylvia Massey mixing, Apex Series Light Post. Plug it.
Man, I definitely gotta check it
Sylvia
out.
doesn't need any more
Yeah, I know.
plugging.
I just dig a little bit deeper into it. What is so difficult? Like that you can hear the duduk clearly, or that it just blends in with the?
Well,
is it more EQ wise, or?
I mean, from a technical perspective, sure, it's EQ, but from almost again getting spiritual and deep, it has such a spirit to it. It's because it's like someone's almost like as much as a guitar player or bass player, you put your energy into something, right? Certain guitar players sound a certain way, certain bass player, whatever, drummers, singers, obviously singing is different. But that instrument, it really has so much personality. So it's like, how do you keep that personality and still make it work within the right mix where it still speaks and it does? So that's what's really, to me, difficult about it.
Yeah, like the breath of the
Yeah,
duduk.
yeah, it's simple.
When you have heavy distorted guitars and bass and dashing drums, it's hard
Maybe
to
it's the context
hear
in
and
your case.
feel that, that breath that we just sat here and felt.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part to accomplish, is to drive that through that heavy mix.
Yeah, it is partly the context of it, you're right.
Yeah, well, I've recorded Jivan a lot. We've collaborated on a bunch of songs too, and I'm happy to say that it's quite easy to record Jivan because he just plays so perfectly well. I'll do 5 takes and I'll just randomly chop them together and just put a lot of reverb and delay on it. And I'm done.
But that's,
It's so good. And I also want to remember our friend Antrani Kizirian, who plays the oud, and I've recorded him as well. So I've recorded a lot of ethnic instruments, and I found that it's actually quite similar to any instrument, whether it's Western or Eastern. I've recorded lots of trumpets and saxophone and acoustic guitars, and it's pretty much kind of every instrument has their own, things, quirks about them, and most, like some instruments, you'll always know that you gotta dip the EQ in this frequency to make it sound right in the recording. And speaking of Antrani, by the way, if you guys want to check out some ethnic sounding sounds, there's an amazing soft synth that he's involved with called Taksim. TAQS.
Should be here.
I was
.im.
gonna stop by.
And so there's Armenian instruments and lots of other Oriental and ethnic instruments that you've never heard of. And there's all kinds of cool tunings that you can do with it. So I want to plug that company. They're doing really cool things. They have a booth here at NAM. Taksim.
We're gonna check them out later.
Yeah, it sounds really actually authentic.
It's really cool.
It sounds really cool for to be able to play
Or soft
duduk
synth.
on a keyboard.
killed my whole
They did a
argument.
really good job.
Thanks, Seb. It's like that, just another thing.
Right.
Just slap on some delay, you're good.
No.
Yeah, I love it that you say, because there's this spirit, there's this energy when you're recording. It's not all like EQ and compression. Like after we recorded this Armenian orchestra, I almost had to do nothing, just clean a little bit the low end, and that's it, because they were just amazing players.
Right.
They played together, and you have it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thank you for this good insight, guys. This is more for musicians and producers. Like, what kind of scales and rhythms you are using in Armenia?
It's interesting you say that, because Komitas, who brought in a lot of Western knowledge, because he studied there, generally stuck to the well-tempered clavier. He didn't. He tried to stick to the Western scale and brought in Western notation. So there is a lot of different types of authentic Armenian music, and there are from certain regions that get a little bit more quarter tony and different rhythms. So there is a variety. And I personally have been classically trained like in the Western world, on the piano, so I don't do a lot of the quarter tone stuff.
Okay.
But mainly rhythmic. It's basically a lot of 6/8, a lot of 6/8, and 9/8, which is 9/8, which is the Tamzara dance. But mainly 6/8, 9/8. I mean, there's definitely a lot of 4/4 as well, right? But I think traditionally, like 6/8 is the rhythmic, time signature almost for most of it.
Yeah, 4/4/6/8. That's pretty much the basic that I know of.
That's pretty much the whole world.
Two main.
No, but
signatures.
there's a specific 6/8 kind of rhythm
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
It's whatever, or with the dahol, there's a certain.
It's true,
I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah, the
explaining that.
accents,
Yeah,
even if it's in 4/4.
Yeah, it's a
The
different
way
accent.
that the accents are put in is it makes you feel like it's odd timing, but it's really not.
But it still gets your shoulders
Yeah.
going, so that's good.
Yeah.
Because that's what music's
Makes you
about
wanna
at the end of the day.
dance.
It doesn't matter what it is, where it's from, as long as it's moving you and making you feel something.
Absolutely.
That's everything,
So you're playing around with the syncopation and sometimes confusing people where's the one.
Sometimes, but they could. I mean, I think 9/8 definitely confuses people, But again, if it's done in a kind of guttural, real way, human way, like everyone feels it. Like music, that's what it's about. And if you can't feel it, that there's something's up with the groove. You got to feel it.
Yeah, man.
I don't care how complicated it gets or whatever. Like there's got to be a feeling, even if it's spastic and But that's what it's all about. You can't get too intellectual with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you lose those goosebumps that gives you. So you don't want to lose the goosebumps at the end of the day. So.
Nice. So you had also your own notation system. There was a own notation system in Armenia, and excuse me when I said wrong. Was it the Kaz notation system?
Chaz.
Kaz notation system.
Say it all together.
Did I say the bad word?
The back of your throat, right? Chaz?
More here in the throat, yeah.
It means like a scratch, basically.
Really? That's what it means?
Yeah, chaz. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's chaz. Chazum.
Chazum,
You're
yeah.
right. Wow, I just learned
So
something.
basic. That's
The notes look like
where it
little
comes, because
chicken scratch.
records and they're basically engraved into the record player, chaz, and that's how recording basically started.
So what can you say about the system? Because you can check it out on Wikipedia. There are some of the symbols. Maybe somebody can explain it.
Well, Gomita
What is the
Chaz
base?
is an very old ancient notation system that Armenians used, and they had lost the key. So they had all these notes, but nobody knew how to read it. And so Gomidas, again, did all this research to try to unlock it and figure out how to read it. And he was able to get a lot done and was able to kind of be able to read it. But before he was able to finish his research, the genocide happened and he kind of lost a lot of
That thing.
research. So the key is kind of lost. Although you can read some things, and he was able to kind of translate into modern notation some old ancient pieces, but a lot of it's kind of
Basically, none of us know how to read it.
I don't.
I mean, it's a chicken scratch, so make up what you want. We'll work on that.
Gotcha, guys. So how important is the Armenian community in LA for you?
I love all cultures, all kinds of communities, and that Armenian just happens to be one of them. It happens to be where I came from, so we naturally gravitate towards that community. And there's a big community, there's all kinds of churches and cultural centers and schools and dance groups and music groups, and there's a lot going on. And we're involved, but we also like to get involved in other communities as well.
Well, music always builds from a community, right? So with the Armenian community, because of things like the Armenian genocide and this and that, we're very close-knit, So be it, diaspora or not, we're here in LA. We all kind of came together because it's somewhat survival, but that in itself kind of has, the biggest quote-unquote rock band out of LA, that has Armenian descent is, System of a Down. That was built all out of community. That's all it was. There was just there was these 4 guys. I wanted to do this thing. We're all buddies. We started bringing more buddies together, friends, everyone. And I think that's the importance of guess, the community in general, but it helps bring up music.
Yeah.
So
Armenia
You know,
has
there-
the
No matter if
largest
it's Armenian or
dia-
not, but-
we have the
Armenians.
largest diaspora in the world. So
There is 10 million Armenians in the
That's it.
world, and I've traveled the world, and wherever Armenians go, they create their, not just businesses, they build their church,
Mhm.
because we're Christian, and we are the first who adopted the Christianity,
Mhm.
and
let's go in deep.
church, next to it, it's a school where kids can come and learn their traditions, their culture, their religion, and they have their Armenian diaspora who support to create. In Russia, I've been in 127 cities in Russia. I've been traveling with my grandfather, performing in different places, and everywhere we go, we see the church. In every city, we see the church. Whoever was the sponsor, whoever had the money to put, but they build the church, they build the school. They are spreading, and they are building their, wherever they go, they build their Armenia, wherever they are. I'm honest, and it's a very powerful thing, and you can go and become a rich person, and money, it's not about money, you know. You can make money and next day you can lose it, but if you make money, you have to do something for your country, especially when you have a motherland, if you have a culture, if you have something to support and keep, you know. Imagine someone doesn't have anything, he wants to create something that he never had, and they're just making a history like they used to be the oldest country in the world, you know, with their religion and everything. There are some religions like that in countries right now. They are trying to take the duduk.
Mhm.
They're saying duduk is
Theirs. Yeah.
ours.
Yeah.
I don't want to say any names or anything, but that's very important that you keep your culture, your roots, you know where you're coming from, and that keeps you alive and takes you with the strong feet. You are standing on the ground.
Mhm.
If you don't have anything under your feet, you just go and you just collapse one day. We have very deep roots and very deep, very powerful things under our feet as Armenians, wherever we go. It's our culture, it's our language, it's our devotions, respect. We know how to respect older people. That's how we grew up. That's how we were. That's how they taught us, you know. And that's the Armenian powerful thing, that it's ours. It's our creation and it's our belief. And it's passing to other generations. Like my grandpa passed me this instrument. I know what he passed me. It's not just an instrument that I have to play and make money or do this or that. No, I know what he gave me, and
It's the whole history.
if I know
of
that
it,
I am
yeah.
not gonna be able to continue and keep it in a high level, I will never take this instrument. I will leave it. I will leave to other musicians to take it and do it better than me. But I know what I can do, and that's what I believe, and that's what I'm doing. And that's very important. Right now, culture and
Discipline. Discipline.
education.
Education, discipline.
Education.
The family education, you know.
Mhm.
They teach you when you are in the bus. Let's say, they say when elder people enter, you have to stand up. Now, some days you enter, a disabled person is standing and a kid is sitting. You know.
Yeah.
I'm even teaching my sons. I have two sons.
Mhm.
My father, when he used to enter the house, I was laying down on the couch. I could see through the window he was coming to open the door. I would run to the door and open the door for him. He would say, "I have the key. Why are you opening the door?"
Mhm.
Because that's a respect
It's respect.
Mm.
to your father.
Mhm.
When he's entering the house, I'm laying down. I'm getting up and sitting down, or I'm standing up. Everything comes from that. Trust me. That comes from that when you're sending your kid to your school,
Mhm.
to the school, they understand everything.
even the mixing result.
That's trust me, brother. Everything matters. Everything comes from the family, how you're raised, and
You went deep
We-
again.
okay.
Anonymous.
I kan hem aan de buiten.
No, we got it. Thank you so much for sharing. The community is important. It's the foundation to.
If you're not a good person, you cannot play. If you don't have emotions, you're a very cold-hearted person. You will never be able to play this instrument. Trust me.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
It's not well, right? You'll play it, but it won't be good. Yeah. It won't be goosebumps.
So, guys, what are your personal projects? What are you working on at the moment? What can we expect? I know you are working on something.
Yes,
Okay.
right now on May 20, my album is releasing, featuring some world-renowned musicians like such as Dave Koz, Eric Moore, Greg Howe, Ida Nielsen, Mark Lethierry from Snarky Puppy. Yeah, it's gonna be jazz fusion album. Which is we are submitting to the Grammys. So pretty busy.
Oh boy.
Yeah. The whole album has the video version as well. So we have some. Already we have about 120 radio stations confirmed for the airplay. Yeah, super excited about this. This is what I was working on.
Wow, that's exciting. When does it come out?
On May 20, yeah, but the single is releasing on April 20, so next week.
All right, make sure to pre-save it and show some support for Vahan.
Thank you.
I actually just moved and built a new studio, so I've been doing that for a year. It's almost done, and the last thing I worked on was a band called Neurobox. I'm actually playing guitar in it as well. It's a metal band, kind of an old New York metal band that was rehashed recently, and that's it. Check it out, Neurobox.
Wow,
Nice.
good. Excited to see your studio when it's ready.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
It's been like year and a half. And I'm at that point where I'm just ready to get back to, working my 16-hour days, like, you know how that goes.
Yeah, but-
Everyone here knows.
Shiva, what are you working on now? What are the next
I have so
projects?
many things in my mind because really, I'm trying. I have different imaginations for Duduk
Mhm.
with electro music. With
Mm.
I was telling today to Sebu that electro music today is a thing that everyone. I want this instrument to be heard in the cars by youngsters.
Yeah.
Not to be performed as a sad way that our cultures in our mid ages that they listen and they think about their country and they go back, they fly back to their country and remember their memories. No, I want to give this instrument play the way that young people will listen, so they have the love to this instrument, not thinking that this is a sad instrument.
Mhm.
But this is also this is a romantic instrument, and it can be played in different with different arrangements. It can be heard in the cars, in meditation places. This is a very powerful thing that you can improvise and do a lot of creating music in different genres.
Man.
You know,
I
that's
think
what I'm doing now. I'm creating music, and I love to do experiments,
Mhm.
you know, but I don't do experiments with my tradition, and I know my roots, I know my tradition, and I know the roots of this instrument, but it's good to, create.
Explore,
Yeah, of course.
It's
man.
good to create, it's good to collaborate. Like my grandfather, when he came here in 93, Lionel Richie reached out to him, and he went to the studio, and there is a song, Now You're Gone. And when he went there, he said, listen to this melody. And he didn't even know who Lionel Richie is. And my mom and my aunt, they said, Daddy, we will be listening to him, like his recordings all our lives. Like
Commodores.
he went to his studio, and Lionel Richie said, okay, this is the song, please listen to it and come back in a week, learn it, you know. He said he had his duduk in his pocket because it's small, you know. And he took
Travels.
out his duduk, he played. He said, I'm ready to record, can we try? He tried, and that's what happened there.
Wow.
In just one take,
Mhm.
everything happened.
Wow.
You know why I'm saying? Because it's, you can create, you can, it's just, you just need to understand what to do. If you understand the possibilities of this instrument,
Mhm.
what this person is expecting in this melody, not to be as a solo performer, not to be in the melody in the background. No, you have to know the specific way to show this instrument in that specific song, or in the specific soundtrack.
Mhm.
You have to understand the situation. Otherwise, you can play the clarinet in different places. But there are some musicians, they play the clarinet in the soundtrack. There are thousands of instrumentalists, like clarinet players. You can call the best ones, the beginners, doesn't matter. As long as you find the right person who understands what you can play, what you need to be playing there. And this instrument has the power, has the possibilities of doing everything. You just need to know where and how to use it.
We are excited to hear what you're coming up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man, officially, I think he's the ambassador of the duduk.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Like,
God's
you
fruit.
showed us so much about the instrument today. We really appreciate it.
He is, and tell you the
Yeah.
truth, he is not just an influence.
Mhm.
Right now, and he's with me, and every time, it's such a different power in between me and him. I was calling him Jivan, not grandpa.
Mhm.
It was a different power in between me and him, different relationship. Imagine, like, he's saying, you know how much I love you. I said, I know I love you too, grandpa. Jivan is like, no, you don't understand. I love you more than myself. That's how our relationship is. And I wish my grandchildren, when they come, I can have some relationship with. And I wish in the world there is such a relationship with that this instrument, anything can connect to your kid or your grandkid. It's a very powerful and it's a very emotional thing for me. My grandpa is like my master, my friend, my father. He's everything for me, you understand? I have a father, he passed away 11 years ago, but he gave his last name to my grandfather. I had a different last name, but I'm 20 years already I'm carrying my grandfather's last name. You know, it's a different power that everything is coming from family. That gives the tradition, it's passing through the genes, and you are able to play it, you are able to, trust me, everything matters, man.
Thank you so much for sharing. Sebu, what are you up to? What will come out in the next month, years?
I just set up my studio to have Atmos speakers,
Mhm.
and actually they're Cali audio monitors. And in fact, just this morning I plugged in the last rear left surround speaker, and then got in the car to come here.
Man.
So I'm very excited to go back and like listen. Like I've been listening to Atmos mixes on Apple Music, and like really analyzing how they're mixing it these days. Well, because it's so brand new.
Yeah.
Elton John, Chic, Pink Floyd. These are some of the highlights with this Atmos mixing, and so I'm gonna learn from analyzing these mixes. And also last summer, my band Capital Cities remixed our first album in a tidal wave of mystery in Atmos at Capitol Studios. And when they told me that they were going to do that, I said I have to be there, and that was my introduction into Atmos mixing, and that lit the fire. And finally I set up the speakers in my studio. The 4 above haven't been hung yet. They're just kind of propped up in the corners, but eventually they'll be hung. And yeah, so I'm going to be working on a production, and my band's 3rd album is like 70% complete. Hopefully this year it'll get released.
Wow.
Um,
Excited.
and that's about it.
I'm next. Oh.
Yeah.
I have a little record label and recording studio called Toys of the Masses. Putting out a bunch of music, different artists. I also am going to be putting out a new band. Apex Theory was a long time ago. That was great. That's great. Antenna at the end, and actually Jivan is going to be, or he's already played on some of it. So in the next few months, that's going to be coming out into the new year shows. Just continuing on music. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Music all around.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring.
What are you working on, man?
Yeah.
Me?
You working on anything right now?
Where'd you get that hat? That's pretty cool.
Right? I mean,
He's from Burbank. That's from Burbank last year. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, I'm working the computer right now.
I just came back from a Morocco journey again. We made 2 LPs. I'm producing now African music for Wana Chapelle. So we're just about to finish the albums and build a reliable team, get the structure so we can make around 10 albums per year. This is my dream, that we can make it. And I found a place to make a music production school in Morocco to teach the kids, so they don't need the music school there because they just learn music when they are born. But they have difficulties in producing it, and I found the right place with artist Aissa Joud. He's a visual artist who built a cultural center for artists to have exchange, and they bought a second house with a rehearsal room, and I will come there, start to teach. We're gonna build it out, and the big vision is to build an art village with a skate park and where people can just go there. So
Community.
yeah, like a community, so the locals don't have to leave the country to learn and come back. They can just learn everything there. And yeah, later to expand even to Armenia to make the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I talked already with John, so yeah, that's for this year.
Wow.
Exciting year.
Amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked. It's important stuff.
Just doing my best. For me, it's very important to give back. The music community is so supportive. I'm now making music for 22 years, and man, we're just helping each other. And for me, it's very important to always give back in any way. Yeah. Do you have any questions? We gotta open the Q&A.
Oh shit.
I'm
telling you.
We've got a panel of really talented people. I'm lucky enough to be friends with some of these guys. Kind of going off what Jivan said too, and for each of you, how do you view incorporating Armenian folk into we all have different styles and different.
You're late, dude.
Yeah,
we
you're
already
late.
talked about
Apparently, apparently you weren't here when I plugged Taksim.
Yeah, by the way,
this is
so that's
Taksim.
Parzentny.
With the soft
Awesome
synth
oud
company
player.
that does.
I love Armenian folk, so I would love to actually hear because each of you have very cool projects, some of which I've even worked with you guys.
You worked with all of us pretty much.
Or where do you see Armenian folk going in terms of being incorporated into pop, or rock, or all
Well,
these different.
I think you're a great example of where Armenian is going because of the implementation of all these Armenian sounds in this amazing soft synth that I'm just gonna keep plugging. I think the whole world right now is like blending together. So all kinds of cultures are blending together, especially with electronic music and dance music. So there's a lot of cool Armenian DJs and dance producers out there right now that are incorporating Armenian sounds. Sarkis Mikhail is one, and I'm collaborating with him on a couple songs. He's this amazing DJ producer. Armen Miran is another one. Pambuk. There's a lot. Like if you guys could think of them, and these guys are incorporating duduk sounds and ouds and tars and sazes in their music, and that's a cool scene that I like to see grow and participate in.
Nice. That was pretty good.
You want to say something?
It's a wide topic for me, honestly, because I personally myself, for my projects, as being Armenian, I don't use too much Armenian sounds into my music because for myself it's little bit, I don't know, maybe we used too many times. That's why it's a bit I'm getting tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
So because I believe, for example, we are 3 million Armenians in Armenia, I believe the music that we create deserves to go more viral in the worldwide. That's why I try to modernize. Instead of like using duduk or zurna, duduk I prefer more in my film soundtracks that I do. But mostly when I create some pop or jazz fusion or whatever, I definitely can't use zurna or whatever Armenian kind of flavors. Even we did some many times like collaborating with some canon or different instruments, but I mean mostly I'm trying to do some way that others will like it as well. I don't want that I push too much about my culture. So that's what I try to do.
Right. Well, it shouldn't be contrived.
Yeah, of
It
course.
should
yeah.
be, you know, like
Always is trying, but
Yeah, like
I
I
know
was
many
saying
people are
before
like
too.
always
Mhm.
stuck,
Yeah.
sorry, just playing Armenian style of kind of music into any genre. But because it's too many already, many people are doing that. I myself try to prefer doing it like less, because there are better guys are doing that, and they're professional in that. I'm more kind of trying to push it, like modernize it, and then push it to the more young generation or the next generation. So
Sounds good.
yeah.
That's a thing.
Is your question answered?
Yeah, it's great, especially there's like the common theme of mentioning youth, like Giovanni mentioned. And,
Yeah, and also has to come naturally, like I was saying before. Like for me, it comes from the inside. I don't try to emulate
yeah.
Yeah.
somebody, or I don't listen and go, I'm gonna put this Armenian part in this
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
You know, if it just comes out and I'm playing something on the guitar or on the violin, I'm like, okay, this is, you know, it's kind of like, I don't even remember what song it is,
Yeah.
but I know that it's an old Armenian song, and it could even be slightly different than the original one, because my interpretation of it, which kind of actually turns out to be cool, you know, just, so I don't think, I just don't like when people try to do, like he said, it's just forced
Yeah.
into there,
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
because, oh, I'm Armenian and I have to constantly put Armenian music into everything I do. You know, if it comes out and if it's natural, then great.
Yeah. Even just using some little change in the chords, I can make it still sound like an Armenian sound, but no one don't guess that this kind of scale is a little bit Armenian. So I mean, we are not. It's not a must thing to use Armenian instrument to make it Armenian. You just need to change a little bit chord, and it will still sound some unique, and audience will not guess like, oh, it will sound something new for them.
Alrighty. Thank you.
But
if it's not Armenian, it's trash.
On that note.
Do we have any other questions?
Time is lunch.
Yeah. It's
Preamps?
lunchtime.
Preamps? Preamp questions?
Speakers.
Speakers,
Ominous
yeah.
audio.
We did not
Plug,
speak
that's a
about
great
that.
idea.
So is everyone on the panel using Cali Audios now?
Yeah.
Does everyone have a pair?
Yeah.
Solid.
Very solid.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
Very
definitely
solid.
Good speakers.
I actually sold all my other speakers, honestly. I had NS10s, I had Genelecs. I got rid of them all. I just,
Do you like it?
yeah,
I
it
have
just, to
those.
me, they hit it right on the spot with the, just sounds true to the sound. Like what I'm hearing the instrument, hearing it through the speaker, it's exactly coming through the right way. You know, if I EQ it before recording, I'm gonna put it in my car, it's gonna sound the same way as it did in my studio. And that's very rare. Most
Translates
speakers,
to the car
speakers,
mix.
yeah, they
Which is
color.
a big deal.
If you've ever,
You
you
know.
know, mixed on NS10s or anything like that, we were discussing that earlier. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's all
definitely.
mid-range, it's all.
Yeah.
Then
go in
you
your
put
car,
it
you start
somewhere else,
crying.
and it's like, where's the mid-range? I got no mid-range. Where's the vocals? Where's the guitar? You know? Even
10
though in the
hours on
studio
this.
it sounded huge and big guitars and everything else. So I was like, no.
Yeah, it's solid.
Cali Audio.
They are really solid. Actually, because I'm mainly traveling in a camper van, and I still have my Iron 8s that are that big. They take like 1/3 of my car, but I need to take them.
Right.
Yeah, I love them. I put them in different places, and they're always reliable. In the back, you have
Yeah.
also the switch, the EQ switch, when you're closer to the wall. So, yeah.
And it's so subtle, the EQ switches, but it does so much. Like if you're next to glass, you know, or you're next to a wall, that could
The
present
reflection,
big
yeah.
problems, you
Yeah.
know. And you can treat that with baffles and things like that, but it's never. I've never come across a speaker. All the studios I've gone to, and they've had all the great speakers. Every room sounds different. Every room you have to sort of learn and this and that. With Cali, what I feel like is I put it in 3 different rooms so far, and they sound exactly the same. I haven't even touched the EQs.
Wow.
You know, so you have that consistency as a mixer. That's very important for me. You know.
Definitely. So, thank you guys. It was a big inspiration to have you here. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for playing the duduk. It was really an honor to have you here, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, guys.
And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Tiny Audio, for organizing it. Thank you, Produce Like a Pro. Thank you, Louis, for the ACT 540s, for the sound. And again, thank you, Audient, for the Evo 16 interface. Yeah, check out the artists that we talked about. Check out the artists that were here. And yeah, have a great time listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.